All right. Last time on Meanwhile in Faust, we picked up Shalora's story back in her kingdom. After a peaceful night's rest, Shalora picked things back up with an investigation of her family at large. Morning tea with Theron, as always. An afternoon conversation with her sister, who had returned from Phalar with news. Roads with Anton or Trellion went well. He received the image of Sarah and was able to use scrying. Tristan was at least use scrying to track her down to one of three, where he's putting in motion a plan to capture her and uproot the Friends of S. Your sister made it clear that it went a very long way in relations between Faust and Phalar delivering this news, and it was good that it came from you. She also mentioned that Atrelion asked about various Fae portals and different connections that Faust may have with the Fae in general. To her, it seemed a little random, but she did say if it came from a more seasoned politician, she would have thought it was calculated. But she does not give Anton that much credit yet. She did mention that Anton's demeanor seemed to have cooled a bit from his fiery temperament the first meeting he called of all the ambassadors. Though she's not sure what to attribute that to yet.
She's not sure what? What was that part?
What to attribute the calming down to. It may just be him getting used to the role, or there may be an outside influence calming him. But he's not as fiery as she initially pegged him as. She did mention, and you did ask, that she's not sure where his sister is. It is becoming a little troubling to her, because that's who she mainly dealt with initially, when she would go to Phalar. And she was considering looking into it even before you brought it up. So that is steadily moving to the top of her to-do list as far as Phalar is concerned. She also mentioned that she had heard rumors of a third sibling, but was not certain any information about said third sibling. She had never met them, nor had she been informed of them. But, oddly enough, she has a book of lost memories, in which she has notes regarding that Anton's sister Satira had asked her to find the third sibling. According to the notes she has on the lost memories, she believes she had tried, but the memory is lost to her at the moment. You did ask about this book of lost memories, and she told you a little bit about it, though she was not comfortable sharing what she has gathered to be the themes of these lost memories, as they could prove to be dangerous, seeing as how they were taken from her for finding out or questioning these things. Reluctantly, Shalora did agree to let her keep her book, and that didn't press the point too much. But Satira did, your sister did make it clear that she felt things were under control. In this conversation, she did mention that she explained for the first time why she stepped down from the role of Sunrise Queen. And it turns out it was because of the conflict between herself and the Sunset. And had she stayed on as Sunrise, she was going to take the Sunrise Kingdom to war with the Sunset Kingdom to find out all the information she was being denied. And her grandmother, your grandmother, made it clear that should she take that route, she wouldn't be pulling any punches on her granddaughter. This was the first Shalora heard of this or knew of this, so it is new information, but I think it's important information that she now has. In a later conversation, Shalora spoke with Gerbo, her on-call wizard, as it were. And they spoke in depth about spells that allow you to reincarnate, more or less, to pass the soul on from one vessel to another. There was a long conversation about cloning, how that works, the restrictions of it. Mainly, the new clone isn't active until the primary source is killed or dies, at which point the soul and all knowledge transfers to the clone. It can be done as many times as you like, and the clone can be any age you like. Though Gerbo did say putting an adult mind in a child body would probably drive someone crazy, as they would be limited and or trapped, so to say, in that form until they aged, which would be long for an old soul. He did mention that there are spells that create a new vessel if the body was destroyed but the soul is willing to return and the spell is cast. You have no control over your new vessel, what it looks like or what its abilities are, but you can be brought back to life that way. Gerbo was forthcoming about all he knew about these kinds of spells, though he did make clear it's not his specialty. There was also discussion about his ability to see if someone was scrying, which he explained can be done with see invisibility, which is a second level wizard spell. Nothing too complicated, but when Salora gets a little stronger, she'll be able to do it. But for the time being, she did ask that Gerbo stick around and cast the spell when she had important meaning she did not want to be overheard, which Gerbo has been doing since Salora found this information out. Salora spoke with Alir another time, getting more information about her grandmother, why he left, why he did not tell Theron the reason he left and let Theron believe it was the call of the sea. They had a bit of a heart-to-heart, we both care about Theron conversation about whether it was best for him to stay where he is or to go with Alir. And Alir made it clear that he needs to be where he is, and that's where he can best help, and that they live long lives, and there will come a time again for Alir and Theron's story, but that time is not now. And so long as Salora can ensure that Theron does not get killed, they will have another chapter. And Alir was confident that he would not get himself killed. There were some questions asked of Alir about Salora's father, about various histories that he may know of, but Alir made it clear that stories she should best get from her father and not from him. Again, Alir was asked to stick around. When shown, Salora showed Alir the arcane bane arrow. He seemed very concerned when seeing this and advised her not to show it to regular or average people, don't show it to shopkeepers, but show it to anyone who may be invested in wanting it. He explained that that was one of the secrets of the sea, and alluded to the fact that it may be a tool used by the pirate lords, and maybe one of the reasons why none of the major empires have made any major offensives against the pirate lords. He also mentioned that they were very powerful magical creatures in the sea, and that these weapons may be used to keep them at bay as well, though he was vague on all points regarding this. He did clearly voice his concern that Salora had this, and again on his way out cautioned her over the use of it and the showing to other people of this weapon and any of its like. On his way out, after he left, there were several knocks at the door, and though Salora repeatedly asked whoever it was to come in, they did not, until eventually the doors were flung open. Alir was thrown across the room, and before he hit the opposite wall, in a puff of mist, the Dreadnought appeared. catching him and putting a knife to his throat, exclaiming that his skills seem to have gone a bit dull over time. I believe those are the major points we hit last session. It was made clear that your sister and your mother had different timelines for the destruction of Sethrit and who did it.
Right. Were we gonna replay that part of the conversation?
Yes.
And then, but I do want to also add. I hate talking with my mouth. Hold on. Okay, so there are a couple additional points. So one, Gerbil going to the mountains.
Yes.
After this conversation thing is done.
After he's done doing the sea visibility for you.
Yeah, and then. Damn, I forgot to say quick. Hold on, I'm looking through my notes.
Go ahead.
Alir, well, I don't know. It's important to me. Alir told me the whole piece about how he and my sister were caught and his theories on what may have happened.
Yes, the fact that your grandmother was supposed to be out of the country, but for some reason wasn't.
Was there to catch them walking out.
Yes.
I want to tell you. Hold on. I feel like there was something else missing from the later part. He also gave a little more backstory on my mother and grandmother.
Oh yes.
And then sister has multiple copies of her book. Blah blah blah. Hold on. Roll back upward.
Yes, the copies of her book of memories, hidden in places you could stumble upon them in case the book was taken from her.
Right. Basically, Anton is going to cooperate with me because my grandmother sent a message to him.
Yes.
I think that's all. But, also, maybe interesting. Sotera was named after Tree Sotera.
Definitely
note that the right thing.
Yes, and who, according to one story you've heard, was a master of the necromantic arts,
yes.
And that's what they used to bring down Sethrit.
Right. Either that or Kavath, but the zombie army, nobody knows what happened to it.
To clarify on Kavath, the story is that Kavath visited Sethrit first.
Oh, okay.
And upon judging the city and the ruler to be unfit, left, and then whichever tree did came in and destroyed it.
Oh, okay. Let me add that.
Essentially, Kavath delivered the judgment, and someone else destroyed it this time. Whereas most stories go, Kavath delivers the judgment and the punishment himself. But your sister did say that it may just be history co-opting Kavath's name, so it may not be a legitimate story of him.
But yeah, and I think, and then Gerwa was saying that it's possible that there are traps remaining in the city.
Yes, the dangers of Sethrit.
Yeah.
Though he did not believe looking over a wall into it could cause you any harm.
Unless there was a trap
on the wall itself, yes.
Right.
There were various factors of why that place could be very dangerous.
And then lastly, he warned about greater restoration.
Yes. Bringing back too many memories at one time could overwhelm the mind.
Yes.
And he kind of warned that if someone had
too many
modified memory done multiple times, it's best to leave it be. Unless you can guarantee it's a very strong mind you're going to revive.
Right. All right.
Okay. Let me make a note really quick.
It was a lot covered last session. So much.
It was a ton. It was well, your sessions are always lore dots, but that was a good one.
I got all the questions.
Mm-hmm. So we definitely have guaranteed 2 more Thursdays. But after that, Critical
Okay.
Role comes back.
I was going to ask you about that.
So we'll see where we go from there and where we are at that point.
Well, you also warned us about to get chased out of here, so we'll see.
Well, there's a, you can't stay here forever, is all. There's a lot of information you're getting. It's a unique situation, but we'll have to go on home eventually.
I am home.
To the story's home.
Right.
But we
Should
will.
we start with...
We'll start with the conversation with your sister.
Yeah.
After she mentioned that you all were talking about how Tree Cetera was the one who destroyed Sethrit, and
Right.
via the necromantic arts, and with your passive insight is 16, which is pretty good. She's completely being honest about this. She believes everything she's saying, but you at the same time have the information from your mother that contradicts some of this.
Right. So hold on. I'm trying to find the exact contradiction.
It was the years. When it was brought down and who did it is the issue.
Right. Because Sephir was destroyed 90 years ago, but the tree's mom was killed 100 to 150 years ago, which means his grandmother wouldn't have been ruling at that point.
Right. So the time she shouldn't have been alive to do what your sister is claiming she did.
Right. Right. Okay. So blah blah blah. She says her piece.
Mm-hmm.
So Solar says, oh wait, actually, hold on. Is it a contradiction? The former tree's mother. Oh yeah, yes. It is. Yeah. Okay, so Solar says, I thought it was destroyed 90 years ago, correct? 90-ish?
She thinks, I believe so. And you can see she kind of makes an involuntary move of her hand towards the pocket where she keeps the memory book, but stops herself from checking.
Can you check on that? I mean, because I was speaking to Mother, and according to her, Queen Cetera was killed 100 to 150 years ago, so that timeline wouldn't quite match.
She looks a little concerned and does take out the Book of Memories and starts parsing through it pretty quickly. She seems to have found whatever spot she's looking for. She says, the destruction of Sethrit is in my notes a few times, actually. As is Tree Cetera.
So Laura looks at her and, alright, I'll say so Laura goes to her desk and looks at what she found about Sethler from her library trip earlier.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, that was before that. Actually, Brian, are there times? I know it says there are footnotes about it. In any of the footnotes or maps, is there something that could place the time or no?
No, there seems to be some of the things that are strategically pulled.
Okay.
You found what they missed, pretty much, when they were pulling information away.
Okay. So I have some maps were on it and ones without. Are there dates on the maps? Or no, not on those either.
They are dated, but it's a pretty big swing. It doesn't
Okay.
really, it's not super helpful.
Okay. So I say to her, like I look up from the notes and say, obviously, the destruction of Sethern is something someone didn't want too many details getting out on. This is all I could find about it. Seems like the library was strategically wiped.
She walks over and like looks over your shoulder to see what you're looking at, and she's kind of back to your left, but you can kind of feel the anger growing in her. She doesn't ball up her book of memories because it's leather bound, so you can't really destroy it. But she does grip it pretty hard, catches herself and releases it, and opens it up to a fresh page and writes something down and closes it pretty severely, and before she stuffs it into one of her inner pockets. She sighs and says, "I'm afraid I don't think I'll be able to look this up for you, my sister."
It's okay. So I turn to her and say in like a lower voice, there's something else I want to ask you about, but I want to wait until Gerbo comes back, so I'll have someone send for you a bit later, but before dinner.
She nods. "All right, I will be around. I'll most likely be in my office, so I won't be hard to find."
And Flora looks like kind of sadly at her and says, if you're uncomfortable with anything, I don't want to reopen old wounds or put you in danger.
She smiles and says, "Well, there's no fun if there's no danger, my sister. And don't worry about me. I'll be okay. The fun thing about your memory being taken is there are no old wounds."
Or like smiles a little tightly, but smiles.
She looks at you and says, "We'll talk later."
Flora nods.
And she makes her way out.
Okay.
Okay.
So now I'll just say Solor ends that conversation a little. She's like clearly a bit like angry.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas previously she was kind of just shouting. Now she's a bit angry.
Got you.
Okay.
So we will jump to Aaliyah flying through your doors, being caught by the Dreadnought, and the Dreadnought saying to him, "Your skills are softening, Aaliyah. It is no wonder you are unseated as Pirate Lord." Aaliyah, not saying much, trying to back his neck up away from the blade, which has drawn a little blood.
Which he tasted like a weirdo.
Yeah. Oh, the blade tasted it. Dreadnought did not taste it. The Dreadnought says...
Oh, wait, the blade said that?
The Dreadnought said, "It's been a while since my blade has tasted your blood, Aaliyah."
Oh, I have. It's been a while since I've tasted your blood. Okay.
The sword. "Has tasted your blood, Aaliyah." And he lets him go and lets him kind of straightens out his jacket, pulls it a little closed. "And I see you have not learned the art of modesty." Puts the blade away. Leave. I must speak with my daughter. I wish not to do it in your presence. You believe you distract and you do not, and it distracts. And you get it. Get out." Aaliyah kind of smiles at you awkwardly, like, "I'm still Aaliyah," and he tries to straighten himself up. and tries to swagger out, but doesn't really ring the same anymore. Not that you had him in high respects, but that does take a person down a few pegs. As the doors close, the Dreadnought looks first over at Gerbo, who nods and kind of taps his eye. Dreadnought looks at him and nods understandingly and looks over to you and studies you for a moment before a big smile just dominates his face. He puts out both of his large arms and says, daughter of mine, please come. Come in for the hugs, yes? We embrace. Let's go. Come on. Right here. And he's like walking over to you, arms out, beckoning for a hug.
Laura eyes and like punches her jaw, but walks over nonetheless.
He gives you a big hug on his part.
Laura returns the hug, but maybe not as enthusiastic.
Yeah. He even goes so far as to pick you up, do a spin, put you down, hold you at arm's length, just a big, proud smile on his face. He says,
Laura, as she spins and like past this Gerbo, she's looking like
Gerbo pointedly looks away, hiding a smile. Not so well, but hiding it all the same. Dreadnought puts you down, holds you at arm's length, smiles. A little tear comes to the eye as he says, my daughter, how proud I am. Oh, but you... I see. I have not been around. I understand. Please, hit me.
I'm sorry, do what?
In the face. Hit, right here. Hit Papa. Come on. You are trained as a monk, are you not? Please. It will make you feel better.
We're not going to move past this, are we?
No, hit me. Your sister does it. Your mother does it. It just works. Hit me, please. I insist.
Solara, like, does one of these, like, and then just slaps the shit out of him.
He staggers a bit and kind of rubs. Oh, you are your mother's daughter? Yes.
Oh. That slap encompassed all the frustrations of the day.
And he does. He nods and says, "Oh, I do not think that was just for me. Oh, but I am sure I've earned that and more. Please, let us sit. Let us talk. Let us drink. There's no servants. I will pour the wine." And he...
Have someone bring us drinks if you'd like.
No. I shall do it. I am a simple man with simple needs. I can pour my own wine. And I can pour my daughter's wine. And he goes over, gets the glasses, and pours some wine. Pours is a little heavier than yours, then stops and says, "Oh, did you want more? I don't want to be rude."
No.
All right. He puts the bottle down next to his glass. And he sinks comfortably in a chair next to you. He takes a sip of the wine, puts it down, then leans back and just looks at you, kind of studying a bit. He says, "I'm sure it goes without saying, but it has been far too long. I should not have been away for as long as I was away, but I suppose that is a conversation we will come about to, unless you would like to start there. I'm sure you have many questions."
Yes. The first being, why did you refuse to announce yourself? When I asked.
Oh, well, it is a thing I have. You'll see, the Dreadnought is never announced. The Dreadnought arrives. It is part of my legend. Must keep up appearances. Always. And I thought it'd be funny. Did you not laugh? It must have been great to see Aaliyah fly through the room. He is quite boisterous, and I do enjoy taking him down a peg or two.
Speaking of Alear, you said some pirate lord you are. What is he? A pirate lord?
He was a pirate lord. He has since been unseated. He did not quite have the stomach for it, I fear. I told him as much when he took the position, but he is not one for the listening, that one.
Who unseated him?
Oh, I did.
You were his boss. Gave him a promotion over you, then took it back?
It is not quite that simple. But I suppose one could view it that way if you would like to, yes. So,
Not that I want to.
typically when a pirate lord is unseated, he is killed. So I made sure to unseat him so someone else would not, thus he would not be the murdered. So I did him a kindness.
Unseat you.
I stepped down, I was not unseated. Yes, I was young and in love, and the land beckoned me more than the sea at the time.
Take it. You mean with someone other than the mother?
No, of course not. The only loves of my life have been your mother and the sea. Oh, and my daughters, of course.
So who took your place then, since Alear stayed?
There were a few other pirate lords. I do not expect you to know their names, that is sea business. But there were a few. The seat was unsat. That seems incorrect. There was no one in the seat for a while, so it sat unseated. Yes, that sounds right to me.
Who? I'm just curious. Who were these people? What were their names?
Is there other pirate lords? Well, my daughter, that would fall under business of the sea. Maybe we double back to that, yes?
Sure. Why not? What would you like to discuss?
I would like to know all about my daughter. What are you doing? How was the monastery? How are you spending your time about the world? Are you staying out of trouble, I hope?
Yes.
Are you causing trouble, I hope? More so.
Yes.
Excellent. Have you pissed off anyone important?
Yes. Speaking of which, I heard you taking up contract with one of those people.
Oh, you must be referring to Avasarala.
Yes.
Must I say? I must say, she is one of my favorite people. She is the only person, besides myself, to curse your mother out and not lose their heads. It is beautiful to see. Mwah. It's just... Oh. Yes, I took the contract. It seemed the best course of action for all involved.
Explain, please.
Well, someone was going to take it. They would not be as efficient or as kind to your crews. I make sharp work of the piracy. Flag goes up, we stop your ship, we shake about some people who need some shaking, we steal the cargo, we send the crew back alive. This is the gentleman piracy, as I like to dub it. It could go many ways, but I do ensure the gentleman sea is maintained. Very little loss of life, very little damage to said cargo. Should you want, you could purchase it back on the black market. It is available. But I do, again, make sure there is no loss of life, no diplomats captured, no ransoms, no further incidents created. Just simple piracy.
Mm. Mm. You're interrupting our business.
Well, the business of Faust, I'm sure, is surviving efficiently. I don't imagine anyone would cross your mother over a late shipment.
So how long is this contract? Is there a timeline on it?
He smiles and drinks some more of his wine. As at the time I accepted it, it was implied it was at Avasarala's will, in her whim. I do not know when she will lift said contract. So, if it makes you feel better, I am charging her extravagant amounts.
So, would you be willing to enter a separate contract with the Sunrise Queen?
He smiles and kind of leans back in the chair and folds his arms over his chest. My dear, I am a pirate. Do you think I have no honor?
I don't know what that means. Would you or wouldn't you?
Well, that means make your papa an offer.
What would it take for you to continue your piracy, but not really? You keep the contract with Avasarala, but still allow some of our more important shipments to get through. Or deliver them yourself.
Well, I was going to say, the former would be tricky, the latter would be piracy. I could, of course, ensure delivery of the goods and then charge the recipients a surcharge for safe delivery, and that would simply be viewed as piracy. Your people would get to...
What if we paid the surcharge? It would be like buying it on the black market.
Ah, I see. It would only have the desired effect that Avasarala wants if your customers knew you were paying the surcharge. A large part of what she is trying to do is publicly humiliate you. I could, of course, as a pirate, I could make sure the right people knew a deal had been struck, while the layman person may not view the dealings coming from a position of strength for Faust. Those who matter would know.
Let me think about it.
He nods, and he says, and of course, those who matter are aware that the pirates do help Faustian soldiers enter Resquipian land. So it is not only your face with egg on it.
I'm sorry, what?
Leia, shipping your soldiers. Some people are aware of that.
What people?
There's no one who would interfere, I assure you.
How did they become aware?
Okay, you got me. It's me. I am some people.
How did you become aware?
Oh, I keep an eye on my crewmates, formers. Lear is a bit of a wild card, and he was floating a little closer to Faust than I like him to be, so I kept a closer eye.
How close of an eye?
Oh, well, I thought he was just having a tryst with the Theron. To my surprise, our soldiers were boarding his ship. Close enough to ensure he stayed out of danger, far enough away to not be seen.
So, many questions.
He smiles and has some more wine.
So tell me, I've never heard the full story of you and my mother. What happened?
He smiles and he says, "Oh, it is truly the romance of the ages, if I do say so. The bards, they used to sing of it. Though the petty, small woman that your grandmother is, I think, saw to the songs being unsung. Nonetheless, oh yes, she is a terrible woman. But
we'll circle back to that, but go ahead.
He smiles and drinks some more wine. There I was, terrorizing the coast, still in the wall. Faustian land by some standards, but the sea, she belongs to no one but the pirate lords. I, being a fresh young pirate lord, decided I was not afraid of the Queen of Faust, no matter how many she had killed. And I decided I would terrorize her boats. I would steal her gold. I would sink her ships. And I did so effectively. I smashed into the rocks those she sent after me. Your papa's hands were quite bloody, but it was good fun. I believe everyone involved who did not die had a great time. I had my first mate. I had my crew chief. These, of course, were Theron and Lear. And we ruled. Oh, it is, of course, that it would be the Theron who is the first mate, as he is good with logistics. And Alir was the crew chief, as he believes himself to be the personable. And generally people do like him. And so it was. We terrorized the coast until a young elf woman, she showed. She had with her a little older elven man, quite the fighter, and she challenged me of all things. I laughed, and I destroyed her ship, and I went about my way. And lo and behold,
when you said the queen, you mean my grandmother?
Yes, I mean your grandmama. And he kind of takes a sip of his wine, and he says, "But yes, I sank the ship. I think that is the end of it. Lo and behold, she has snuck aboard. I did not find out till weeks later. Imagine my surprise. I awakened to a dagger to my throat, and I must say, I was charmed. It was love at the second sight. As I mentioned the first time I tried to kill her. Though it seems fair play as she tried to kill me the second time. So fair play for her. It matters not. I did not die. I was able to talk the knife away from my throat. We were able to have a civil conversation. And by that, I of course mean that none of the injuries we gave each other were fatal. That the crew was able to separate us. And that we were able to speak with cooler minds in the morning. She refused to leave my ship. I refused to outright kill her, as it would not be sporting. I sent her way on a dinghy. Her and her stowaway buddy. And I was on my way again. Lo and behold, months later, a monster of a ship approaches mine, trying to sink me. Unprovoked. I had not been pirating that day, so it was quite unfair.
A day.
And that is an important distinction to make. So, there I am, outgunned, outmanned, outnumbered, outplanned.
Exactly.
I had to make an all-out stand.
Turns out I have heard a bard sing of your tale.
She was quite formidable, but I am a master of the sea. I called upon my powers, and I, Veron and Alir, made our way aboard her ship and dispatched of her entire crew. It took us a few minutes. We are quite skilled. Once again, I found myself face to face. She, with her sword at Theron's throat, me with my sword at, what is his name? Hanal. Yes, Hanale. Me with my sword to his throat. We decided we'd rather our seconds stay alive, and we squared off against each other.
Quick question. You said you called upon your powers. What do you mean?
I am a cleric of the sea.
Cleric of the sea?
Yes. I get my powers from the sea herself.
That is interesting. Continue.
So there we were, circling each other as the rain pours and the lightning strikes. Her crew defeated, my crew watching. I told them, do not interfere. This will be the third and final bout of our dance. Very dramatic, I know, but it was important.
Yeah.
To ensure our fight take place in the privacy, I called upon my marine lad to engulf us in fog, allowing us only to see each other within 10 feet. Let me tell you, it made for quite the battle.
What? Say it again?
Marine lad, when I cast it, I can see everything. But unless you're within 10 feet of me, you only see the fog.
Oh.
She was able to quickly figure this out. We had quite the close quarters combat. And I must say, your mother was very charming. As we fought to the death, she was able to, how do you say? Your mother murdered me, and she saw fit to not leave me murdered, which I was not all that appreciative of at the time, but I grew to appreciate not being dead. She captured me, she captured Alair, and she captured the Theron. Though the other two were allowed to leave, they refused, as they are the good shipmates. We took the very long walk back from the coast to the capital. Along the way, I was very charming. Your mother was very charming. Varen and Alair talked too much. And Hanali kept giving me weird eyes. But this is not here nor there. We were set upon. They had to free me for us to fight our way out. We had a few adventures on the way home. We saved some villagers. We rescued some nobles. We dispatched some of the hobgoblins. Quite the tale, quite the trek. And all along the way, I was charming, and your mother was charming.
What villages did you save?
Oh, they were small. The names escape me, as it was not my cities. I'm sure your mother knows their names. But they were small trifles, in my opinion. One town besieged by thugs, others unjustly taxed by false nobles. Again, the hobgoblins, as you mentioned. The daily troubles of small towns that live outside the direct rule of the kingdom.
These are like outside of Oz.
They are technically within its borders, though they are not near any of the larger cities, and do not request official help or rule. They were without these soldiers. These simple people, as I've heard them described.
Mm-hmm.
They are the best of us, I like to believe. But we made our trek home. I like to believe your mother fell in love with me on this trip. I can say with full certainty I fell in love with her. And I arrived not as the Dreadnought, but instead under my given name.
Which is?
You do not know your papa's name.
I didn't know my mother's name until quite recently, I must admit.
He nods and says, I wish I was surprised. I am not. Your papa, he is named Azeki Ladon. It's on your
Yeah, that's what I'm scrolling up. Okay. Okay. My iPad is auto-correcting me. Okay. Alright. So, then what happened?
Well, your grandma was not overly pleased at your mother arriving home with a suitor. Less pleased still when she met me. I am a very, very proud pirate. I did not shy away from my past, and she was well acquainted with my work. Still, she raised her a warrior in your mother, and your mother did not back down from what she wanted. Nor were I afraid of that woman. So, we were wed. We had our babies, and we were in the love for quite a while.
What sent you back to the sea?
Oh, that would be that witch of a grandmother of yours. And he smiles and drinks some wine. Just tell me, how long did it take for you to employ a person like this to watch yourself?
Too long.
He nods. Is that woman? And he says it kind of bitingly. I do not trust her. I have never trusted her. I do not trust the influence she has over your mother, over you, and over your sister. I have never trusted the things she has done in this world. And I was in a unique position to know much more of her deeds than anyone else she had been around in a very long time.
Like what, for example?
He make a persuasion check with advantage because she pops.
Okay. I'll just roll twice.
Yep. Woof. You did not want to know this.
Ah!
He looks at you and he says, maybe we circle back to that, yes?
No.
Let us just say, while she has the ability to erase the secrets of the land, she has no such claim to the sea.
Laura, as frustrated as I am at this point, and says, she laughs at, like, cynically and says, seems she has a chokehold on everyone these days.
He sneers and you are your mother's daughter. Yes, I see it. I do not fear that woman. I simply do not wish to give you knowledge you will misuse.
Misuse?
I have made that mistake in the past.
Are you speaking Veronica?
Yes, I am speaking of your sister.
Wow. So are you the reason I'm in this position instead of her? Flora says a little bitingly.
He starts to talk and then stops and starts again and stops. I would not view it that way.
Wouldn't you?
No, your sister, she is her own person. She made her own choices. She asked of me and I answered. I do not lie to my daughters. She she reacted how she chose to react. I do think. I do not think the crown would have been kind to her, as I do not think she would have been kind wearing the crown.
Anger from earlier starting to like bubble up again. uh,
Are you hiding this, or is this like a visible thing?
nope, it's visible.
He nods and he says, "So you want to hit me again?"
Only if it'll give me the answers I deserve.
Oh, deserve. This is a word that I find interesting. You are my daughter, yes. You are your mother's daughter. This is your history. On one hand, I can see how you would deserve it. On the other, it is not your story.
It became my story when I was forced into this position.
Or have you not
Probably
asked?
word. Who would have taken it if not me?
Your sister could not have stepped down if you did not step up. She would have been forced. But if you ask it of me, my daughter, I will tell you. Do not ask anything you do not want to know. It is the same advice I gave your sister. She did not heed it.
Let's circle back to that.
He nods.
While we're here, I don't know anything about your side of the family.
Oh, je l'entends. Well, we are creatures of the sea. I do not know if you are aware. I assume you are not. The... How do I say this? This is usually not so easily believed. Your maps are incorrect. The sea is much larger than we lead you to believe.
Laura doesn't look surprised. She's just looking like.
We have our own world out there on the sea. The world of the land does not concern us very much. Until we decide it should. My parents are of the sea. They live out there. They were not overly concerned with my marriage. Did not wish to see my wife. Did not wish to see my children. It breaks your papa heart. But they are of the sea. My children were not born on the sea, so they, well, it is my hope that you'll meet them someday, but we shall see.
What? He's an elf, right?
He's enough.
Okay. So, why are they so? Why don't they care about your children? I understand we were born on land, but do they not care about you either? Like,
my parents are very proud of me. They always aspired for me to be the pirate lord. I achieved this.
Are they pirates?
They would refer to themselves as freebooters. Another word for pirates, of course, but a different style of tact. The pirating does run in our blood. It is something we have always rebelled against. Kingdoms, against authority, against government, and then I married into one. So they weren't the proudest on that day. I did not exactly pick the most free-thinking kingdom either. They would have preferred Arena, should I feel the call to the land.
Arena, why?
Or they are seafaring people.
I thought Vitros was sea. Wait a minute.
Veridis is landlocked. Rena is right below the sunrise on the coast.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Okay. Continue.
He says, they are good people. Should you seek them out, they will accept you with the open arms. They are just not coming here to see you.
I can go to them.
If you can find them, yes, you can.
Do you know where they are?
Not at the moment. I could find them if I need to.
So how often do you contact them?
I check in. I try to check in at least twice a month.
Do they typically stay in one sea or?
They have a bit of a floating armada. They go where the sea takes them.
Are there multiple seas?
There are more than are on your maps.
Do you have a map? An accurate map that I can see?
He smiles. Should you choose to come out to sea, I will give you a map. Until that time, I do not have a map for you. It
What are
would
your parents?
serve you no good.
What are your parents' names?
I just called them affectionately Mama and Papa. I have, I understand. Now that you are looking for names, I can see how it seems strange. But it is Mama and Papa. It was the Captain and the Captain. It was mockingly the Admiral It was the pirate lords. They've always had the titles. I find the older we live, the more forgotten our names become.
Seems they should be some of the named.
It should be what?
They should be one of the named, if they're pirate lords and such.
There are previous pirate lords.
How were they unseated, or did they step down as well?
Oh no, they lost a war. They were unseated quite dramatically.
What war was this?
He kind of smiles and apologetically says, "It was a war of the sea. I do not believe it would be in your books."
I didn't ask for a book. I asked what war.
He smiles and he says, there was... He kind of takes a moment to decide whether he's going to tell you this or not. And I'm going to roll a dice.
You literally just said you'll tell me anything I want to know. What is going on?
He did just say that. You're correct. He says, there was a great war amongst all of the pirates. Sides were chosen. The issue was whether or not to interfere with the land and these things that were happening here.
Is this around the time of the discontinuance, or?
He looks at you. How do you know about this?
Continue, please.
This was after.
After the discontinuance.
Yes.
What was happening on land?
Well, you'll see on land there was a bit of a tyrannical rule spreading. There was heavy-handed censorship. There was a shadow being cast that my parents felt we should shed a light on.
What's the timeline on that? Is this maybe between 150 and 75 years ago?
He smiles. This is nothing to do with Sethrit, if that is the timeline you're trying to place me in. This is before that. I will speak plainly with you, my daughter, as I see you have sunken your teeth into this. The war was about whether they should stop your grandmother.
This after my grandfather was killed. Then she went on her rampage.
This would be the time, yes.
So what? Explain. Because from my understanding, she was just trying to avenge his death, but maybe that's not the case at all.
He sneers a bit. Everyone is the hero of their own story, are they not?
So what is the story?
He looks a little uncomfortable.
You just said you would tell me plainly. She says through clenched teeth.
He looks at you and he says, This reaction is what I am concerned about. You are very much your sister's sister?
Looks down and realizes she was like, her fingers have like actually like started digging into her. He like catches herself and like
he says,
it's flashbacks to my grandmother.
drink some wine and I will continue.
She does. She's doing. She like.
I'm going to grab another beer and I'll be right back.
All right. Hey, are you listening?
Yes. Your pop is the coolest boy in your family.
Oh, I just wanted to tell you. So I made a rum breeze and I mixed one of the Wild Basin seltzers in, the melon basil one. It's such like it's so perfect because it like kills a little bit of the rum breeze sweetness, but it adds the melon basil. So good. So good.
I'm drinking a malted drink with malt and hops, but it's not alcoholic. Pretty good. You should try it.
Sounds interesting.
I'll save you some.
Okay.
Hello, Brian.
I was like, who is Breon?
You don't belong here. You mute your mic
I
right
like
now.
that name though, Breon. I might call you that. He was.
Some people call me that.
Oh,
Surprisingly.
really?
Mm-hmm.
All right, done. It's done. You've been renamed.
So, as the Dreadnought takes a decent gulp of his wine and refills it,
So Laura glances at Gerbo to make sure, like, we're still in the clear.
Gerbo looks and nods and goes back to... He seems to be practiced at not listening. He's just sitting there making some food and occasionally looking up and checking all the corners of the room. But, like, you've looked at him a couple times. He's not reacted to anything.
Mm-hmm.
But the Dreadnought refills his wine, stretches in the seat a bit, kind of shakes out his hands. Apologies, I am a bit of the dramatic.
I've gathered as much.
It is part of being a pirate. Well, I'm sure Lear has mentioned there are secrets of the land, and there are secrets of the sea. What you can erase from the land, you cannot erase from the sea. So, as this story goes, your grandpa, he was killed in the farmlands helping the people. Your grandma, she was heartbroken, and she burned and killed, and burned and killed, trying to avenge your grandpapa, trying to find out who did it, trying to send the message. She did send the message. She did. She. It would appear she advanced. But the sea tells a different tale. Your. And he pauses again.
Don't tell me she had him killed.
No. She did not have him killed, though she was made aware and made no moves to stop it.
Why am I not surprised?
It was not days in advance, but as she chose to move and to stop it, she could have. She did not. And the killings were to erase other things she needed erased. And this gave her cover to do so.
Like what things?
It's like he paused.
Oh.
It's like whatever friendship she seems to have with Vela. She killed a great many people of her generation. People who would know these things without having to look them up.
Why would she go through such lengths? Didn't she basically, I mean, is this regarding her starting the war between Risquib and whoever and then seeding the tree and all this, or is that something else?
It is a bit odd to say which secret she was preserving. But it is the facts of it that she took advantage of this death that she allowed to happen to wage a private war against the world.
What? Okay.
She effectively silenced a generation.
Why? Like what do you know of her relationship with Kalon that you may want it silenced so desperately like that?
He looks uncomfortable again. He says, my daughter, why are you so interested in this?
There's a lot going on the land that seems to tie into all this.
I have been keeping an eye on your endeavors. There is some crossover, so I do not know that I feel as if you are digging new holes.
What happened to telling me plainly? Where are we going? Well,
information is a dangerous thing. It is my job as a papa to look out for the safety of my daughters.
mm, mm. Clara sits back and thinks for a minute. Hmm. Her history, they have caught up to me in a way that may start a new war on the land. Um, so it would be helpful to know the details.
He sighs. According to the history of the sea, your grandpapa was killed by the tree of Fela.
Why?
Now that is a secret between your grandmama and the tree.
Were they a part of the discontinuance together?
They are not that old, to my knowledge.
The tree seems to well, he has relics from that time, and he seems to oddly have memories from before his time as well. So
He thinks for a moment. Are you suggesting he has been alive that long? Didn't he just die?
yes, which is ties into this whole thing.
Surely your grandmama is not that old.
Well, if she was around to seed the first tree, she is. I don't know. Or was she? I don't know. I don't know anything about these people.
Vela is only 600 and change old? 650, maybe?
Right,
It's
but
not
they were.
so outlandish.
So then, how many trees have there been?
There have been 6.
That's me scrolling through my notes from just these sessions. including the current one.
There's no, if you count him, he'd be 7.
Okay. And could you give me the timeline, please?
I am a pirate, not a historian, my dear.
But you have the history, and there are no books. Oh, please.
He shakes his head. You are your mother's daughter. I do not see the relevance of
Excuse me. Trees.
what about these trees does my daughter so need to know?
Everything that your brain contains of the truth.
I do not know that much about them.
Good, so this should be short.
He shakes his head and drinks some wine and sighs. I've never been much for the political intrigue. I prefer the issues of the sea. They may not be simpler, but I know all the players. The first tree was killed at the age of 63. The second tree was killed at the age of 150. The third lived to 100. The fourth was killed at 70. That one was by the Great Kavah.
Was the first.
Was the first one?
Killed by Kavah. Two. The first two were killed. By whom were they killed?
Oh. The first was killed by Risquib. The second, I believe, was the old age. The third, I am not sure. As I said, the fourth was killed by Kavoth. The fifth lived to 150. And the last three, he was 115.
Queen Cetera. Wait. Queen Cetera, is she the one that destroyed Sethra?
They like to call themselves trees, not kings and queens.
True. Tree Cetera. My apologies.
He kind of sighs again and plays with his mustache a bit. Dries Cetera, she would be, yes, the responsible for the decimation of that town, yes.
Is it true that her zombie army walked into the sea?
Yes, very much unappreciated by the sea.
What happened once they got there? They just zombie march on, or?
Yeah, zombies do not need air. Zombies do not need food. Zombies just zombie around.
So you just left them here?
I am not Aquaman. I am not the guardian of the sea. They cannot
So
climb on my
in
boat.
the water. They're just there.
Where else would they be?
Did she not try to use them to take over the sea or something weird?
They can not swim. Well,
They're
I
just
suppose they
walking
can
around.
swim. Can they swim? They might be able to. They had no ambitions on the sea. The sea, as I mentioned, is much larger than most do think it is. I believe the trees know the secrets of the sea. They
But
are
how?
not foolish enough to bother us.
How would they know the secrets of the sea?
I just assume they passed their knowledge down.
What do you mean?
Your grandmother knows the secrets of the sea. If she so chose to tell your mother, she would
did
know.
not. Why would she and the trees have the knowledge of the sea?
The pirate life calls too many.
My grandmother was a pirate.
Your grandmother was a killer. They are the same circles, no?
What? No. What?
Yes. Killers and pirates do frequent the same places.
That doesn't mean they'll just go around dumping the secrets of the sea.
Your grandmother was very good at getting information. She was very smart. She did realize that the maps were not accurate. She commissioned her own voyage. She forced her way into Anchorage in the Freebooter Society.
Anchorage?
It is one of the pirate capitals.
Is this the landmass?
It is within Risquib, if that's what you mean, yes.
Do you mean those? But isn't that landlocked? Aren't those?
He smiled and said, "You would be surprised what is and is not landlocked, my daughter."
I'm just looking at the map. Oh, so wait. Is there some underground passage, or is it actually not landlocked?
He smiles and says, "Elia was getting your soldiers there, was he not?"
I don't know how. Let me look at this.
Secret of the sea? It would be the map of Risquib.
Yeah, I'm looking. The expanded border was one, right?
Yep.
Does Solar have this actual map?
It would definitely be within Faust's library of information. Freebooters Anchorage is what he's talking about.
Right. So.
It's landlocked.
Oh, it is there. Oh, how did I never notice that? I only saw the floating cities. So Solara says, it is most definitely landlocked.
He smiles again. The Z has her secrets.
No. Wait. Pause. It is most definitely landlocked.
It is. And does that make it inaccessible from the sea?
No, it does not. Interesting. So the floating cities, right? Are those, like, when you said, your parents have, like, armadas and such, would those be one of them?
They have resided there in the past.
Is there land there, or it's just like, are there actually buildings on water, or are these just ships?
They have made some engineering marvels. They are floating. They are too large to sail on sea at this point.
What were you talking about? The Secrets of the Sea, right. So, she went to Anchorage and found out what?
She proved herself to be formidable enough to earn the secrets of the sea. I'm sure she found out much.
Is she one of the named?
She is no pirate lord, if that's what you mean.
That's not what I mean. Okay. So. Do you know? Are dragons creatures of the sea?
He looks at you very surprised. And what is it that you know of dragons?
But they're out there, unfortunately.
He nods slowly. They are not typically denizens of the sea, no?
So why would one have been locked away? Hmm. Why would one have been locked away on land, underground with secrets of the sea?
That I cannot explain, my daughter. He's looking at you very interestingly. I don't know. Changing his appraisal is the best way to describe it.
Are there any secrets of the sea that may have been lost to the land?
There are many.
World-changing secrets.
Events of the sea have changed the world. That is hard to say. I know not exactly what histories have been fully erased from the land and which have not.
Post-discontinuance events.
The war over stopping your grandmother is definitely one that has been lost to the land.
What do you mean? Right. What happened there? We were talking about that. What? So... Okay. So many questions. Let's wrap up the Sethrit thing. Why would the destruction of Sethrit be something that my grandmother wanted to erase the history of?
It is my humble opinion that there may have been more going on in Sethrit than simply a city revolting. Whatever that was, the tree destroyed it, and Grandmama erased it.
I had a wall over Sethrit, surrounding Sethrit, and I wasn't even able to look into it.
As you mean you were not able?
I was stopped by the current tree.
He thinks for a moment. Ah. Ezreleon is Anton. Oh. That is fascinating.
Why is that?
Oh, I know Anton.
Like personally?
Oh, yes, we get along. I used to visit the Axion. He and I have had our adventures.
Does he know you're my father?
He does not.
Oh.
as no one knows that the Dreadnought is your father.
I see.
That would be an embarrassment for your grandmama.
You're aware of why the Axiom was created, right?
I have heard conflicting stories.
Which are?
Well, in the new light, I assumed the little princeling was bored, wanted a taste of real danger, and cultivated a thieves' den. So here Anton Tillit, he was simply an enterprising young man who ran in the wrong circles long enough to combine them. Was charismatic enough to convince other dangerous people to join his little city, and was strong enough to enforce the laws he made. So, I think the truth of it was a little boy trying to find his brother.
Have you heard any tales of his brother?
None that I saw fit to tell him.
Because why didn't you see fit to tell him?
He smiles at you and he says, because I like his brother more.
You know his brother?
I do.
Is he alive?
He smiles at you and he says, I am remiss to tell you information you will tell your friend.
I won't tell him if there's no need to.
You are your mother's daughter. I am assured you would either tell him or hold it over his head.
No. Right now, that wouldn't be in my best interest.
No, not today, but maybe tomorrow. I would rather not give my daughter a loaded crossbow.
Brian, did I tell my mother where the rubies were? Or did I just tell? No, I just told her I knew where.
You told her you knew where they were. Yes.
Okay. So I say, so I take it. Well, can you at least tell me if he left of his own accord? I can't place which preposition belongs there, but
he looks at you. You first tell me, what would that change for you?
Well, there's a lot of secrecy surrounding the tree, position of the tree, and so on and so forth. This may help unlock some of it, or at least spell some rumors of it.
He nods. I am sure you are aware that looking into the trees does generally draw the focus of your grandmother.
Yes, and I would like to know why.
Wouldn't we all? And he drinks some wine.
So, from my understanding, she's off to kill someone now who told me a bit of her history with the trees.
He smiles and he says, "Did she say she was going to kill them?"
No,
Then she is not going to kill them. She has this thing where if you make her kill someone, she will make sure you know. She says
What?
things like, "They are dying because of you," or "I will not kill them because of you," or stupid shit like that.
well, she was quite enraged about what the person did, so it wouldn't have been my fault per se.
He laughs a bit.
But she did tell me she was going to pay them a visit. I think, in not so many words.
If she told you that, that would in theory give you the chance to tell them that, which would give her a harder fight should she choose to kill them. So, she is very conniving and would not have given you a heads up to give them a heads up if she were planning to kill them.
Huh. Interesting. Okay.
I think she
Oh.
was just fucking with you, though she was probably legitimately upset
Mm-hmm.
and most likely actually going to visit this person.
What relation does she have with the water, though?
Outside of brute forcing her way into our secrets?
The water seemed to respond to her.
How do you mean?
I mean, she was mad and the water backed the fuck up.
He looks genuinely puzzled. Are you sure?
I was sitting there and watched the water recede. Receded. Yes, it receded.
She should not have such an ability.
Why?
She is a monk, like you, like your mother, like your sister.
Allegedly. Allegedly.
I have seen it. She is a monk.
It can be other things than just a monk, no?
Yes. I have known her for a long time. That would be quite the secret to keep.
Apparently she's quite good at keeping secrets, no?
Yes, but I have heard tell of some of her fights. I have heard tell of some fights she barely escaped. There were no abilities used that were not of the monk variety.
Maybe she didn't think it was worth exposing that secret.
She is crazy enough to do that, I suppose.
Let me ask you, what do you know of her family history, or just my family history in general, I guess?
He looks. He's like growing more uncomfortable as the conversation goes.
And his class gets lower, I guess.
It does actually, dramatically, as he gets up and gets a new bottle. And
Third one.
then makes his way over.
I take it you'll be restocking my bar once you leave.
He smiles. I will leave that to their own. And he actually grabs 2 bottles and hands one to Gerbo as he's walking across. And he looks at Gerbo and says, "We will need some silence, Gerbo." Gerbo nods and casts a quick zone of silence on himself, so he can no longer hear you all. He sighs and he says, I need you to promise me something, my dear.
Which is?
I need you to promise me not to try to go to war with your grandmother. It is silly and foolish and reactionary.
Hmm. Sorry, 1 second. Sorry, this is about work.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Alright. Sure. I promise not to start a civil war unprovoked.
You
Except this time.
added a factor.
Huh?
You added the unprovoked part. I simply would just ask that you do not, provoked or not.
What if she tries to go to war with me? Does that count?
Defend yourself, my daughter, but I do not think she would.
What if she tries to banish Theron?
Then I suggest you say goodbye to Theron.
No.
He
I don't
nods.
think I could be here anyway, so here we are. I won't commit suicide at this point. Or at any point, but
He nods and he says, "Is this, according to this sea, which I will add is unconfirmed, it is simply, how do you say, folklore,
okay.
allegedly,
Hmm.
your grandmama or parents, they are they are from Gillivesto. Allegedly. I cannot confirm this. It does not make sense, of course, with the history of the house.
What?
Well, according to the history of the house, there has always been the 3-in-1 kingdom. It has always been passed down from mother to daughter.
Say this again. You said allegedly.
Allegedly.
My grandmother is from Gillivesto.
Or parents.
And what is the history of false again?
Oh, the history of Foss, so proud and true, is a kingdom mighty that always has 3 matriarchs. The sunset, the sunrise, and the queen. And this has always been passed down from generation to generation.
Mm-hmm. But that... Well then, what is the Sea's version of Falsian history?
The silver zone is a little murkier.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, According to the Z,
Right.
Faust was the offshoot of Ilvesto that decided it would be its own.
With my great grandparents.
So the story goes.
And why did it separate from Celesta? According
According to the legend of the sea, there
that's
were
hers, but it's the waves.
there were promises broken. There was a treaty destroyed. There were lines drawn. And Faust proved to be strong enough to survive and thrive and grow.
What treaty?
That is not known of the sea.
Why is it that Jill Vestins are so tied to their magic while Falcians aren't? And how did we survive if that's the case?
It is not so hard to kill an arcane user. That being said, according to the sea, Faust had their own very powerful arcane users. But it is said there is a history to magic. There are secrets to be learned. That is the base of it. I suppose if anyone in Faust were to lean too far into the magic, they may learn things your grandmama does not want them to know. Should any of them become warlocks, surely their patrons would know all about the true history of things.
But you're unaware of the true history.
I am no warlock. I know enough not to trust your grandmother, and I have told her so on many occasions.
So, I pulled that happening. So, do you know? Do you know what the Good Earth? Oh shit! Wait a minute? Do I know these names at all? Or do I just know what's on that tree, or am I trying to find out what's on the tree? I thought it was like I came across these, but don't know what they meant.
I can say you came across these two names. They wouldn't be hidden. The good Earths wouldn't be hidden.
You said would be hidden?
Would not be.
Okay. So I say, do you know what good Earth means?
I believe that is the surname of your grandpapa.
In the Jillabeston?
I do not know what their surname is. I have heard something referred to as Prin. I do not know what it means. It may have value in Gilivesto. I do not know.
So the ones from Prin Argilla with the Prin Argilla So where are the gooder ones from?
Veridis, they are the druid. Is it good earths are your grandfather's parents?
Hmm.
Samson is Solara's dad.
Oh, right. But they're the royalty of King and Queen of Vidris, right?
Yes, they were royalty. Yes.
What happened to but you don't know why they'd be called the Gooders? Is that like
It's the family name.
um,
They are the Gooders. I do not know why they chose the family name whenever they chose it.
and they were druids?
Yes, many in Veridis are.
How did they respond to his killing?
Druids are a much more reasonable people. They were upset. They tried to investigate. So your grandmama did kill most of the elites.
And you have no idea why she would try so hard to protect Sayla. Well, I mean, she helped create it, right?
I do not know her vested interest in Fela. I have. I decided a long time ago that it was not my business.
Do you know of someone named Tristan?
He goes to start spitting and stops and realizes he's like in your house and doesn't. He kind of like swallows the spit. I know of Tristan.
What do you know of him?
I know he is a bastard. I know my sword aches for his blood. I know he is a coward.
Why do you say that?
I simply speak the fact of the matter, my daughter.
What makes him a coward and a bastard in your book?
Wow. He refuses to see me on the sea. He refuses to see me in Faust. He refuses to be in the same room as me.
Why?
I have made it quite clear I will kill him the next time I see him. And the Dreadnought keeps his promises.
Why do you make that promise?
He takes a breath, drinks some wine. Tristan, he attempted to change my memories.
What do you do?
Me too?
Hashtag?
How do you mean this, me too?
What memory did he try to take of yours?
He narrows his eyes. Did he take your memories, my daughter?
He did once.
I
But
told him, should he ever
Oh.
Alter the memories of my family. I would put my blade between his ribs.
Oh. Makes you feel any better? He lost his limbs 3 times. So, like all of them, for some level of time.
So he lost his life none of the times.
Okay. What memory of yours did he try to alter?
He failed, so it is hard to say.
Someone altered the memories of your other daughter.
He looks, he has a look of controlled anger when you say that.
I take it you're aware.
He says, let's just say, the death of the tree opens up various opportunities for reprisal.
I don't know what you mean by that at all.
Oh, I simply mean I'm going to kill Tristan. That's my earliest
But I don't know that
convenience.
Okay, but I don't know if he's the one. In fact, thinking about it, I don't think he's the one who did it at all. Well, I'm not talking about me. I'm talking about.
There are your sister is very powerful. There are not many who could manipulate her mind. But I suppose I should do some research before I simply go and cut a man. So if anyone has it coming, it is that one.
Well, someone altered your wife's mind too, so I don't know that I would put it all on Tristan.
He sighs and he says, that is a different case, technically speaking.
It seems everything interrelated in these parts.
He nods and he says, you do have a complicated family.
Yes, which is why I'm trying to piece the pieces as I can.
You must decide what is important to you, my daughter. These memories, these histories, you can lose yourself in them. You can lose the present and your focus and your goals.
As of now, my goals are to at least piece together my family tree.
He kind of sighs and he says, my daughter, trees, they get cut down, they burn, they grow old. The past is not paramount. You know your parents, you know your sister. You know what you want to be and what you want to do.
Actually, though, good question. Do you have siblings?
I do.
Who are they?
They are of the sea, though not loved by the sea. It is complicated.
Would it be helpful for me to know them? Should I ever find myself upon the sea?
They know you. Should you find yourself in their presence, they will make that known. I will respect their privacy for the moment.
Wow. Wow. It seems my family is growing ever more complicated by the moment. Wow.
I don't know if that's complicated. They're just people.
Okay. Back to the task at hand. Do you know what history my grandmother had with the Fae?
He narrows his eyes a bit at you.
I
And
need to know.
why do you ask me this?
Yes. Well, okay. Here are a few things. One, I need to understand what's going on with the trees because I was warned that they aren't average in their humanity. And that while my expectation as an elf is to outlive them, perhaps I should temper my expectations. And not because of my own mortality.
Who told you this?
Take a guess.
The viper warns of other snakes in the cauldron.
Additionally, in my meeting with the now deceased tree, he seemed to have memories that were not his own. Or, as I mentioned, of generations before him. Not as a written history, but as if he lived them himself.
You did mention this.
Yes.
Do you think this is tied into the Fae?
I think there are a lot of things here at play, okay? I think the warning, in combination with my own firsthand experience, has a lot of things that I need to understand.
Do you think this tree lives longer than a mortal should?
In some form or fashion, yes.
Maybe
And
he is dead?
seeing as how the current tree seems to be about to potentially war with the Fae, it'd be helpful to know what's happening on both sides. As I mentioned, it's all interrelated.
He thinks for a bit. And instead of drinking his wine, he's kind of just swirling it in the glass.
Mm.
He says finally, he starts to speak, then he stops and looks back at Gerbo. And Gerbo kind of nods to him. The same nod he'd be giving you of no one's watching.
Hmm.
Then he looks back to you. Do you know of the courts of the Fae?
I do. Summer, winter.
Do you know of the structure of the courts?
No.
Stop me when this sounds familiar. They have a lady, they have a queen, and they have a mother.
Okay, that sounds a little familiar.
Mm-hmm. According to the sea, the lady is replaced every 4 generations, and the replacement typically comes from the mortal plane.
Why?
I do not know the way of the Fae.
So
But
the lady's not related to the queen or the mother?
they are never related, no.
So how do they interact? Like how what does this structure mean? Is it similar to Foss in that there were three kingdoms within one?
Similar seems to undersell it quite a bit.
Don't help. Mm, continue.
um, Zuhir the Sea Sellet is a next lady. I am not certain of which court was entitled to be your grandmother, and she somehow, somewhere broke the deal.
So so the lady is immortal. The queen and the mother are fae.
If you are empowered by Zife and you are with Zife long enough, you will become Zife.
What? What does that mean?
Their powers are transformative.
Hold on. Let me just show you because I'm trying to find something, but hold on. Can you see this? Okay.
Yeah.
This okay. Like this is just
Ooh.
from the past 2 sessions. Okay.
That's a book right there.
When I say I'm scrolling,
The Book of Faust.
Dear God. Okay. Pause, please. I'm literally going.
You just keep opening new doors.
Oh my God. Okay, hold on. Yeah. My conversation with her is the paper that I cannot find.
With who?
My grandmother, because she mentioned one of the courts specifically.
She warns you of the summer court.
Okay. Thank you. That's what I thought, because I have something about not a great interaction, but anyway. Okay. Okay. Okay, so instead of her, how did they just choose someone else randomly, or?
I do not fully know the business of Zife. I do not know how they decided or moved on from this. I do know they did not. A deal with Zife is. I do not think we have the comparison. It is paramount. It is everything. It is fundamental.
How would she be so powerful as to opt out of the deal with the Fae?
I am not certain. That, though, is why she has a reputation in the sea. But that is also why it is maybe assumed it is not the truth. Because how could you break the deal with the Fae? It is not possible. It should not be possible.
It's true.
So,
No, it's true. It is, she did.
I cannot say how she did it then. Though it does make me glad that your sister did not try to fight her.
Is it?
Yes, if she can break the deal with the Fae, I assume she could snap your sister in half. Should she be so inclined?
What does the sea know of giants?
His expression grows a little dark. The sea has purged itself of the giants long ago.
What do you mean? Are giants from the sea?
There are some that made the sea their home, yes.
But they got rid of them?
They what?
But they don't live there anymore? The sea ousted them?
They were defeated a long time ago in this discontinued ones you keep mentioning.
Is it possible? And Laura like looks over at Gerbil again. I'm gonna assume he gave me the same nod.
He did.
Correct.
Yes, you're still good.
And she says, is it possible that she got powers from killing a giant? If she were to find one.
She, as I understand it, the giants were long gone before her time came.
There are still giants.
He looks at you and he says, I am not aware of your grandmama killing any giants.
Laura says, what can you tell me about wait a minute. Can you see separate from the sea?
If you so chose to stare that close, yes.
Is there anyone who would be able to check it?
To check it?
Yeah, to like see what they can see of separate from the sea.
For what purpose?
There seems to be a lot of history surrounding Sethrit, and I'd like to know why and how it relates to my grandmother.
Are you asking me to send a ship to Sethrit, my daughter?
No, I was asking if you know someone who could check it out.
I think we are saying the same thing, no?
Okay.
Sethrit is not the safest place to go. As I believe I mentioned, there are zombies in the water. Yes.
Are they still just standing there?
They are standing there. They are not disturbed.
So they haven't just walked off into the sea randomly. They're standing there guarding the sea around Sethra. Is that what you're telling me?
They do ensure that the coast is undisturbed. Yes.
That is quite interesting. But I have to assume that the sea around Sethra, unless they can swim, you should be able to get close enough to see through a telescope or something. No.
They are. Some of them can swim if they are not weighed down by heavy armor. They are dangerous creatures.
Wow, this is so interesting. Huh.
There is a reason Sethrit has not been adequately looted. At least not by the sea.
Do you think someone could fly over Sethra?
I have not tried it myself, but I do not see why not.
Well, if they have zombies guarding the sea, it seems that they would have something guarding the air as well.
I don't know what that would be. But it is a fair assumption.
As I mentioned, Anton wouldn't let me even look over the wall.
He nods. Well, I don't know that many have tried to go to Sethrit. I suppose as the stories of Trisadera have faded, maybe the fear of the place has faded too.
So, there are zombies guarding Sethrit's waters. What about, what's this, Kismet Course?
Outside of the freebooters' anchorage. That is an undead forest. There is much in there.
That's an undead forest.
Yes, there is a lot of denizens of the undead and the ghastly that live there.
I thought it was just a dead forest. It's an undead forest. Okay.
It provides the perfect borders for the freebooters.
So if I needed to get to Anchorage, I would have to go under the land.
Oh, there is nowhere under the land, my daughter.
How do you get from the sea to the lake?
How indeed?
No, I need actual answers.
So you have reason to go to freebooters' anchorage, my daughter.
Perhaps. As you recall, that is how my or aren't my soldiers getting through there?
They are not landing in freebooters' anchorage, no. Though they are using its secrets to get into Rizquip, yes.
There you go. I may need to invade Rizquip at some point.
He kind of laughs. Then I do suggest you reach out to me, and I will facilitate.
So, that's the secrets of the city. I've heard. I'll just ask plainly. What can you tell me about rubies of the sea?
Which rubies are you referring to, my daughter?
Arcane Bane movies?
He kind of sits up straight in the chair. Why do you know of those?
I still glance at Gerbo again.
He nods.
I know of a lot of things that apparently I should not. What can you tell me about them?
That is not an adequate answer this time, my daughter. Why do
I
you
asked
know of those?
first.
You did. I am your father.
Well, I'm just meeting after X years.
I have been around. You have not asked to see me.
And so have I.
How do you know of the Arcane Bane?
Is that a problem?
It is.
Why is that a problem?
It is dangerous.
To know of them.
It is dangerous to know of them, yes.
Why?
You know what they do?
I do.
Then you know why they are dangerous.
To know of them? No, I don't.
He stares at you. And he says, you know, Elir was quite upset when he was leaving your rooms. Do you know why?
Maybe he sensed that he was about to get thrown back in here.
Maybe.
What can you tell me about these rubies?
I can tell you that you should not have any. Should you have any, you should throw them into the sea.
Why?
Because there is no one I would trust with the ability to steal magic.
Why would there be a... Why into the sea? Why not just dispose of them off a cliff? Into a cavern?
That would not stop the land from finding them again.
Why is that a problem? Can you just tell me about the rubies? You're God. Can you just...
He looks at you a little frustrated. You do not understand why it would be an issue if people could steal and take others' magic at a whim.
However, why? What is the history of these rubies? Why are they named as such? What little background, please.
Do you also want the background on the sword, on the crossbow, on the strangling of a man? They are weapons. It is not. They are weapons. They are used to destroy and to kill and to maim.
But they were created by the sea? In the sea?
No. They are... And he stops.
Say it. Just say it.
Whatever you are planning to do with them, do not.
I do not want to have to ask someone else these questions, so I would prefer if you would answer them.
He sighs. These weapons and he frowns at you, shakes his head. I do not know what it is about the women of this family, but you all have this streak in you. It is dangerous. These weapons were used to fight, kill, and maim the gods.
The gods?
The gods. They are dangerous. They are relics of another time that should be lost to the sea, but or not.
No, they are not. Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
They were once used to drive the Fae out of this plane.
Really?
They are dangerous. They attract
What?
more enemies than they stop.
It's quite interesting to know.
I do not think it is, my daughter.
Oh, but it is.
Not in any positive way.
Are patrons gods?
Why are you asking me this, my daughter?
Hmm. Hold on, I'm trying to remember separate what I know from what I've heard. Hmm. Hmm. So I know that I was there. Well, Solar was there with the whole branding Tana thing, or no?
With the what? Branding Tana? Yes.
So that's why I tried to bounce, right?
Yes, that was the out for you two. So you're aware that he branded her. I don't know how much follow up details you received. You were with him for like 6 hours before he went back to the group.
But I know, like, he had that whole conversation with his patron.
I mean, his patron did tell you guys back in the Feywild that he could brand someone and the patron would snatch them up.
No. Right. But his patron was saying, like, something about he's protected by somebody else.
Yeah, who's protected?
Tana. Like, so he couldn't snatch her.
Oh, you weren't there for that.
Okay.
That was
after he went back?
yes. He didn't find that out till later.
Okay, but I do know that he can snatch more.
Mm.
And I know he told us that he switched patrons, right? Or something.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he let you guys. You guys are aware that he doesn't bang with Stride anymore. He has Gene Lamp now. He has the ring, so you guys are aware of the change.
Okay, so yeah, okay, so that's fine. So yeah, so I asked that question.
Oh, he asked you why are you asking?
He asked me a question. He said why
are you asking him that? If patrons count as gods.
I need to know the hierarchy things. Apparently, I'm woefully undereducated in all such things.
He sighs pretty heavily. Looks a smidge deflated. And he says, do you want to kill a patron now too, my daughter?
No.
Patrons are under gods.
Is there anyone in between them?
Some of the Fae.
Which ones?
I do not know them by name, my daughter.
Would an archfey be between them?
Most likely, yes.
Solar just gets like this blank look like on her face. Just like staring off.
Are you in trouble, my daughter?
Solar just keeps staring off.
He sighs and drinks some more wine. And he says, for the record, this is why I do not come around. Because I do not lie to my daughters, but my daughters, they ask too much.
Oh no. No, no. No, no. This is all very necessary knowledge.
Your sister said very much the same.
Somehow... Did she ask these questions exactly?
She did not. She had her own questions.
Were they related to the Fae in any way?
That is between your sister and I'm afraid.
I would hate to take the same path.
I would hate to see you take the same path, my daughter.
This is the fork in the road.
I would suggest speaking with your sister.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm. Mm. Oh. For every weapon, there's usually an anti-weapon of sorts. Maybe not. But if there's a weapon that can take magic, you know of a weapon that can get it?
I do not.
Hmm?
I do not, no. There is no counterbalance that I know of to the arcane pen. That is why it is so dangerous.
Hmm. Let's call it a session because this is quite interesting.
Alright, we are at 11:30, so we will call it there.
Arcane
Questions upon questions upon questions.
Wow. Oh boy. Oh fucking boy.
Arcane Bane is your dad.
Arcane Bane is her dad?
Yeah.
What is this? Wow.
You just ask so many questions. It's hilarious. You just keep like you go down rabbit holes and you see another hole and you're like, I wonder what's down there. And you just hop down the next hole and down the next hole.
This is imagine now trying to surprise her with something.
What you say?
Trying to surprise you with something.
He's trying to, huh?
Imagine trying to surprise you.
Oh,
It's the most
in
annoying
real
thing in
life,
the world.
right?
Yeah, in real life.
Like you just don't stop asking questions.
My curiosity in real life is just as intense.
I'm sure. I am sure. Mm-mm-mm.
Wow, that doesn't feel like a positive thing you're saying. Like, it doesn't sound like you feel like that's a positive thing personally.
Well, you know, it's not always good to get answers to every question you ask. It's not always good to ask every question you think of.
Interesting.
You are currently getting an information dump every session here. I'm sure there will be no negative consequences for you for doing that. I'm sure you won't act on information that you shouldn't.
Oh boy.
Snail
This
Tilly.
is interesting.
It
Laura
is.
is Snail Tilly.
Oh boy.
So Laura is quickly moving to a spot of she has too much information for her own good.
Laura is about to try to take over the world.
The
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, she's crazy. The whole family, y'all crazy.
boy.
The whole that's why the pop stays away. Cause he knows. He just sees it.
This
Just like the
is
sister and grandma and mom.
That's why he took that little deflated sigh of, damn, another one.
See, and you know what? You used to hate on Brian for making him that way, but all he did was make him like you. All he did was give you a reflection of yourself.
That's rude. That's so rude.
Oh
That's
man, it's definitely the whole thing's fascinating. I love the way the whole thing's playing out. This is pretty great.
No, but
What?
this whole thing stems from my grandmother trying to erase the history of the world. Like,
Certain histories, not all of the history.
this whole circle of events. I feel like this whole circle of events is tied to her history of life. Like, she was supposed to be a lady of the Fae, of the summer court of the Fae, and somehow got the fuck out of that. But she shouldn't have been able to. She also helped create Bela, and has this weird ass magical powers that she shouldn't have, somehow. And her parents are from Del Vasto, and all this other stupid shit. And now one of the archfays, I don't know how many there are, has roped me into this bullshit. I'm about to start a war with Anton, who may or may not know about the existence of rubies, which is the only way he could probably win a war against the Fae. This is ridiculous. Actually...
He does know about the rubies because you guys use those weapons all the time around him.
Oh, right. No, but does he know that they're from his... what is all it?
Assad did have a conversation about him taking him to the dungeon so Bavaria could get said rubies.
Right. So
I gotta
why
go
I'm
back
wondering...
and listen to it again. I'm pretty sure Assad told him the rubies were under the dungeon.
But that makes me wonder, did he build the Axiom there on the fuck purpose?
That's a good question.
Under the guise of looking for his brother, what happened to his brother that he left, that he's now using this as some type of cover as to why he's building this place? The same way my grandmother used my grandfather's death as a cover for scorching earth. This whole weird ass circle is connected. as would make sense because this is a fucking campaign. This is not just random world events that line up. Or is trying to put the pieces together.
A lot of pieces. A lot of pieces.
Now she's standing in the middle of a war. Oh my god. Which apparently is not by happenstance. Oh my god.
Fascinating. You could have just came home, figured out your stuff with Avasarala, put that in order, and went back. No.
Oh, this is so much. Too much. I feel like I was baited.
Baited how? I didn't tell you to talk to any of these people.
You had people moving water and fucking pulling out memory notebooks and fucking trees, remembering them past selves.
You're describing. You're jumping from like month 3 of the campaign to last week, and that's hilarious.
Are they not all related?
I don't know. Are they?
Wow.
Yeah, you're Samson related. I know that.
Huh?
You and Samson related.
Me and Samson are related? I
Mhm.
forgot about his whole fucking ordeal and how that could be tied in. How that's tied in with the whole. Wait, what? I don't even remember. I can't think about that. I already have too many things.
And what's it called? He told you that pretty much. He just told you that the mother and the queen were fae.
Huh? You told me who?
I mean, were humans at some point.
They were what?
Humans?
Oh, of the mother and lady and queen of the Fae
That they were all human?
mortals.
Well,
I didn't know that the queen and the mother were. Because
he told you
no,
that.
oh, those. Oh, yeah, right. Because that's the same hierarchy now of fucking Faust. Which
He said
apparently
if
was
you
co-opted
stayed
by
long
my
enough,
grandmother
you'd
when
come
she decided she wasn't going and she was going to create her own little mortal version of it and change the actual history of Faust somehow, which is probably why she killed off a whole generation of people. Been able to say, no, that's not how this fucking thing went. Oh my gosh, my whole life has been a lie.
It's still a lie. You're still a sunset queen of Faust. That's true. You will ascend to queendom of Faust. That's true. And then you will ascend to the sunset. That's true.
Oh my gosh, they're made up.
Aren't all titles made up?
Wow. Wow.
Intruders, invaders.
This is actually Laura is disillusioned.
Disillusioned?
Yes.
Why? You still have a kingdom.
I don't want this fucking kingdom.
What are you talking about? You tried to lie to ask him.
Huh?
You was about to do the same thing that what's it called? That was Stay Live. That's what Stay Live about to do. That's you.
I don't understand what you mean.
I don't know how this went to my blue.
I think
I
you're
know.
saying. Go ahead.
I said that's what Phelan gonna be if it's up to you.
What's that?
What's it called? Where y'all go and take over?
You did line up the corridor. You lined up Axiom. You kind of lined up Kelsham almost.
And what's your mom gonna do?
I didn't tell anybody
Your
about
mom
that.
gonna stop there?
You did. You told your mom about Axiom. You told her to go. You told her to leave Tana and Anton alone.
Anna? You mean Oriana?
No, I think you said Tana because Tana was
Oh, I said I.
there was a complication because that because it was an Evelyn. I forgot what it was. You told her if she went not to kill Tana or Anton. You told her to take the place.
Okay,
You
I didn't
keep
tell
her
her
in
the
power.
rubies were there though.
No.
I just told her.
There's a
It was
thieves
like-
den up for the taking. Yeah. There's
Yo,
a
look
pow-
what
a
X
powerful
started.
place
X
up
caused
for
a
the
huge
taking.
problem.
With what? The rubies?
X caused a huge problem by giving his little boyfriend that ruby for stupidity.
I mean, to be fair, that is after he gave one to Tristan. But everyone seems to forget happened.
Screw that.
That's why Solara, all these damn people have these rubies. Know about these rubies. Know we have these rubies. Oh my god.
It's fascinating. It is fascinating. There's a lot going on in the world.
And that makes me wonder. And the fact that, and the thing is, like,
What's up?
Tristan has a ruby. I don't know how they lost the fight against the Fae. Did they lose it? Was this all a fucking setup? I don't know. This is interesting.
I mean, just because you guys choose to use nukes doesn't mean everyone's using nukes.
I mean, like on one person who's actively attacking the tree?
I mean, in their defense, it was a surprise attack.
That's true. Now I'm wondering, like, oh man. So many people know about the rubies and know we know about the rubies and also have.
It's a kind of short list. It's not super long. I mean, you keep telling people, but outside of that,
Yeah, I mean, as you aside, it used to be X used to be a problem, but it's just you and the side now.
yeah, it's kind of only you and the side telling folks about rubies now. Your voice is super low, Nishan. I did hear
He
you tell.
told his counsel. That's it. I mean, that's.
Yeah, I mean that's the same thing as what?
That's too many people.
Oh, I had your voice down because you were snoring last week. Okay, let me.
That's too many people.
There we go.
Yo,
My
shut
bad.
up.
I turned you down. 'Cause I didn't want to
Like
hear
I said, I can tell my counsel if I want to, all right?
No, you
They're
can't.
trusted.
No one's saying you
Yep,
can't
just
tell
like
them.
she could.
I could do what I want. My
it.
kingdom.
That's what she's doing too. You're telling them
Exactly. I have no
Yep.
problem with that. Solara can do whatever she wants for her kingdom. I do whatever I want with my kingdom. Midas does whatever he wants with his little spies.
Yeah, he does. That's fair.
Exactly.
No, he doesn't do whatever he wants to the spy. Well, he does what he wants, but he doesn't want to tell the spies about Arcane's Bane. Keeps that on a hush.
Well, that's on you. You look. You have free reign over your kingdom, all right?
I mean, I guess the group X did tell Archphage Receptus about you guys having this stuff, so there's that too.
Uh huh.
No.
Yo,
I mean,
such a great story.
The group didn't tell us, but
Ridiculous.
Such a great story. And Solara, you honestly, you created the 3-queen system, and Brian fleshed it out. It's a really good concept.
we 3 queens
No,
be
I-
stealing the gold.
I made that.
Yes, you did, Brian. You told me that Michelle created it. She said I wanted
Yes,
a
I
kingdom
did.
with 3
Didn't I?
matriarchs. With 3 matriarchs. Yes, you did, and you
I
fleshed
did
it out,
tell
Brian.
you. Wait a minute. I'm about to go back in this conversation.
Yeah, you told me that's what she said initially, and you fleshed it out from there. It's a really good concept. I like it. I'll lie.
Let me see.
Thank you. Brian,
Yeah, they're
Give me
3
my flowers.
sociopathic crazies. That's why.
I don't think Solara is a sociopath. I think the mom is a sociopath. And what is the grandma? Psychopath?
Talking about
The
bro.
mom-
Laura just said she's about to try to take over the world. She about to try to kill Archphage.
I said that out of game.
Yeah, she said that out as a joke.
Yeah,
Like, come
and
on.
she
That's a joke.
she about to kill Archphage. She about to
Did
try
you
to
just
kill
laugh at
Archphage.
joke?
You-
Did you, Brian? What was that?
Hey, you know, if you make a joke so many times
I did. That's my first time saying that.
out loud, sure.
I mean, you lining places up, and then you talk about to take over the world.
Well, all right. Okay, yeah. But it doesn't mean you're
It
trying to
don't
take
look
over
like
the
you're still
world,
lying.
though. You're just lining
Thank
up
you.
fake lie.
Thank you.
Look, bro.
Just
yo,
lining up Phala.
And then she says, "Can it kill Archphage?"
She also has ambitions on destroying Rishquip because they fucked with her. So there's that too.
Yep.
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
Anyway.
Ain't
And
no.
she was beefing with Gilavesto for a minute too.
And
So she's about to start taking places. She's sociopathic. See, Michelle, you tried to come at me in real life.
nah,
I say I'm crazy. Look at you get some power.
All the
You're
places
crazy.
I lined up were within Phala.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Saeed's a little corner boy. He's mad at people pushing actual weight. You know what I mean? Nicholas Domino. Yo, ain't nothing wrong with that, Michelle. Just don't mess with Riveria, all right?
Yep.
Yep. All right. Yeah, I know.
Mm-hmm.
You guys are dumb.
It's about to get your little mountain toppled over.
Nuh-uh. Impossible.
Turn the rock to a pebble.
I'll be there in 1 second.
She said, I turned the rock to a pebble. You did the opposite of Hove.
This is a great story, though. I love the way it's just evolving.
Yo, is that why it's Tove? Because she built the rock from a pebble? The mountain? Yo, I get it. That's why they call you Tove. I'm like, yeah.
Oh, man.
I can't,
Toby, baby.
I don't know what I gave you and what I didn't. I see when we first started talking about it, but we already started talking about it.
So what you gave me was the rule starts on the 500th birthday of the oldest child. The current ruler must retire past the crown. Spend 100 years in the monastery, 50 years of world experience. On 250, she comes back to inherit the throne.
Mm-hmm.
And I broke that down into 3 thrones.
Gotcha. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Watch the throne.
Watch the
Right.
throne.
Yo, you a Jay-Z fan. You a closet Jay-Z fan.
But no, because the way it works in my mind, it's all going to be monks, and it's all going to live longer and not have any effects of old age. Passing the crown on when you're like 500, 600 years old and you have like another 150 plus to live would be hard to accept unless you are moving up to a different position, a different space of rulership.
Right.
That's too long to be that powerful to just give it up not on a whim, but to just give it up. Yeah.
Right.
Cut dry tuck it like that, you end up stealing the crown from your daughter.
Or
Nah.
killing them, which is what I thought the tree did, but apparently not.
So many. You're just like unraveling or unearthing so many can of worms. It's hilarious.
Not funny anymore. It's too much.
Stop asking that. Like you just can't say
Yo,
it's too
you
much.
really,
And you
yo, you
actively
really
keep asking
keep
questions.
asking like it's like you interrogating your dad, yo. It was
She is
so
interrogating
funny.
her dad. She's 100%
Yo,
interrogating her dad.
exactly what's happening. That's why
Tell me about
Right.
the rubies. I was dying.
He's like
I didn't bring
Angelica.
him here to have a family reunion. I brought him
Yo,
here to ask questions.
That's who you like. You like Angelica off the Rugrats.
That's
I
why you're
want to
sitting
know
there
now,
like
Daddy, now.
you're sitting there like, man, all the women in this family are the same. But damn, another one.
Another one.
If they weren't, if there wasn't this web of secrets, like there wouldn't be things to unearth. Like we just go on about our lives, but one thing leads to another.
Y'all could go about your lives. You could just focus on ruling.
Oh, so basically,
Yo,
my
Michelle.
sister is out here getting her memory wiped every 3 days, and like
So-
I'm supposed to just ignore this.
Tron,
You asked about
Huh?
that too.
can you bring me a Tommy Tippy bottle?
Okay.
Just need the bottle. Actually,
Alright.
you could bring up a couple, but Saeed is hungry now, I think.
All right.
All right, all.